Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber, joined here by juvenile judge and trial attorney and other host here on the network, Judge Ashley Willcott's with us. And we're going to break down the most interesting live trials and legal stories in the news today. We have a lot to cover, so let's get started right now. We have to bring you an update regarding actor Jussie Smollett. This Empire star has officially been arrested and taken into custody in the early morning hours. He has been formally charged with disorderly conduct for filing a false police report. This is a Class 4 felony in Illinois, carries with it 1 to 3 years in prison and a possible $25,000 fine. We believe Smollett will be facing a bail hearing today at around 2 or 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have a special here on the network talking more about it, but by all accounts, investigators believe he concocted a story that 2 men had attacked him 3 weeks ago and yelled racial and homophobic slurs at him. And if this is turns out to be true, we're trying to understand why did this happen. So let's break all this down right now with Judge Ashley Willcott. What a development. I mean, I was following it last night, and this charge, what do you make of this?
I was doing the same thing following it. First of all, I'm relieved. If the investigation shows that he, in fact, reported a false crime and said this happened when it didn't, set it up, he needs to be charged with a crime, Jesse, and he needs to be held accountable because the whole world is watching, basically, and it's a horrific thing to think that he even made this up.
So how does it work going forward? We know the bail hearing will happen today. Will he be released on his own recognizance? I mean, what could happen today?
Okay, so a number of things could happen. He could be released without having to pay any money. He could get a bond set, so he does have to pay a certain amount of money in order to not go to jail, not spend time in jail, or they could choose not to release him. I don't know. You know, the argument's going to be, listen, he has financial resources, at least arguably, because of what he does for a living, and that he could therefore leave or take off, and we can't trust him because of what he's alleged to have done, so we need to ensure that he stays incarcerated until the next preliminary hearing. I don't know what's going to happen.
But we're not going to get any details about what happened here, right? We're not going to know the story. We don't know about this. We just know that he was charged. Clearly, they're saying he made up this story. How do you defend this kind of charge? Because if you have these 2 guys who he allegedly hired, these 2 Nigerian brothers to beat him up, and it's their word against his, how's he going to defend against this?
Well, you know, everybody, it's the presumption of innocence. That's how you defend against it. These are allegations. Nothing's been proven. They're saying that he did it, but the evidence has to be presented. So at today's hearing, he's either going to admit or deny the charges, right? That's all. Typically, we're not going to see more
guilty
than that.
Or not.
No. I mean, he just has to answer that question. Today's bond. I apologize. I was going straight to preliminary. So that's the only issue that's going to be on the table. So most likely, we're not going to hear any facts surrounding it, any of the evidence that the prosecutors believe that they have to present. None of that comes out today.
I want to play you something. So Smollett, this saga for the last 3 weeks or so, he said it really happened. They're saying it didn't happen. He went on GMA and said, you know, he was attacked, that anybody that's coming out for him and saying that this wasn't true is unfair. I want to play that GMA clip for you right now.
I went out to Walgreens thinking that they were 24 hours and to have a smoke. Walgreens was closed, so I called him up and I said, hey, I'm going to run to Subway, which was across the street, and I'm going to get a salad. Do you want anything? I went to the Subway and got the order. During that time, I texted my manager thinking that he was still in Australia because he was on an Australian tour with one of his other clients. And I said, yo, call me when you can. He called me immediately, and while he was on the phone, I heard, as I was crossing the intersection, I heard Empire. And I don't answer to Empire. My name ain't Empire. And I didn't answer. I kept walking, and then I heard Empire. So I turned around and I said, did you just say to me? And I see the attacker masked. And he said, this MAGA country punches me right in the face. So I punched his ass back. And then we started tussling. You know, it was very icy. And we ended up tussling by the stairs. Fighting. There was a second person involved who was kicking me in my back. And then it just stopped. And they ran off.
Okay, so something struck me about this interview now that we're listening. He's just been charged. I mean, he's an actor, right? He's a storyteller. He can make things up and make it sound real. Would that video that we just saw, would that come into evidence at a future trial?
It might, because listen, now that you hear maybe he made this up and then you watch that video, that's pretty disgusting. That's pretty compelling evidence that he should be held accountable and found guilty. So I would certainly utilize that, and I think that they arguably can under the rules of evidence.
How does his attorneys, and again, we're still learning the details, they said that it's a complete fabrication that people are making. It's completely inaccurate that he made this story up. Are attorneys allowed to stretch the truth like that, or are they assuming their client is telling the truth? Again, I'm just assuming that this is accurate and that he has falsified this report. I'm based on that assumption. But if his attorneys have come straight out and said, this actually did happen, this is all a lie, this is manipulative, how can they justify those statements?
He's denying it. He's saying, no, this absolutely did happen. Now let's play devil's advocate. Maybe, Jussie, these two individual brothers, maybe they're blackmailing him. Maybe they wanted him to pay him off to not concoct this story, and they lied. We don't know. They might. I mean, that possibly is the case. Otherwise, you know, false commission of a crime, they could have been charged with that. So we don't know yet. We don't know enough details to know. I don't know if they have it in Illinois, but there is a charge, at least in Georgia, where you can be charged with basically saying you committed a crime and you didn't. This happened in Florida too. There were individuals that they allegedly went into a room and beat somebody up so they could get money from Walt Disney, and they did all of that, and they too were charged because they were complicit in the crime by saying we committed this crime.
Let me ask you this. So we're waiting last night to see if the grand jury is going to indict him. We're not sure what's happening. One of the conversations that came up was that not only could he be charged for filing a false police report, but number two, you remember that letter that he talked about that he received on the set of Empire, and then it might have been falsified, and that he created it himself? He might have lied to the FBI. That's a separate charge. I mean, what could happen there?
Oh, that's even worse. I mean, it's lying to the FBI is never a good thing, never a good idea. But then we also start to look, if those two things happen, Jussie, what else has he done? What else has he lied about? What other crimes has he committed? So they're going to investigate even further to see what else has he done, because it wouldn't make sense that he just lie about those two things.
Well, we got a lot to talk about, but you're going to be talking more about it because at 2 p.m. we're going to do a special on the Jussie Smollett situation. And again, we do expect to be live, well, not live, but we are going to be helpfully covering the bond hearing at 2 or 2:30 p.m. today. I don't believe cameras are allowed there, but we will be talking about what's happening. Just a monumental day in this case. We have to take a quick break, but when we come back, we will be live in the David Dooley case out of Kentucky. Stay tuned.